So I remember the night we traded for Karl Anthony Towns, I started to celebrate, but then I actually saw the package we gave up, and my smile kind of went away because I saw that Dante DiVincenzo was in it. I didn't care at all that there was a first. I certainly didn't care that Julius Randle was in there. He had to go. We were never winning anything with him. I got a lot of love for Randle. He turned around the franchise. He's a real one for coming to New York when no one else was and they were ducking. But at the same time, like Randall, he just had to go. But the one guy that I actually was really starting to like a lot, he was becoming one of my favorite Knicks ever, only playing a year here, was Dante DiVincenzo. And I wanted the Knicks to go and get him back. But then I found out that, well, you trade a player, you can't exactly trade for him back. But now we're in the offseason. And a report came out yesterday that around New York's New Year's season, they made internal discussions about a potential reunion with Devo in the offseason. Well, now we're in the offseason. The finals ends, of course, Sunday night. The draft's less than a week away, and then we're going to get into free agency. I do think that the Knicks 100% should bring back DiVincenzo. Even Magic Johnson spoke about this when he was on ESPN's Get Up. He said that the Knicks just lost their swagger when they ended up trading Devo. I'll even go as far as saying they lost their identity. Taking a look at the Pacers, well, we went to 7 with them last season. This season, we went to 6. Losing Hartenstein certainly played a huge role in that as well, as he was an awesome rebounder slash defender, passer, IQ player. But DiVincenzo, his toughness, his physicality, it matched the Pacers. It matched anyone in the league. I thought personally last year's Knicks team was better than this year's team, despite, of course, having McHale, despite having Cat. But last year's team was exactly who the Knicks have been for the last 30 plus years. They're a physical, grit and grind team. They don't play around. I get they haven't won anything. But last year's team was just awesome, man. They were amazing defensively. They could switch everything. They were super clutch. And Brunson wasn't a liability because everyone around him could defend. And we never got to see Randall. We never got to see OG together. Mitchell Robinson got injured as well. Bojan got injured. If that team had stayed healthy, I legitimately think they could have won the championship. Boston, they didn't really have much of a test. The Mavs and Luka were gassed to the point when they got to the finals. Of course, there was injuries to the other teams that they played. The Pacers, they didn't even win a game. So I think the Knicks last season, honestly, were a better, more constructed team. And the reason for that was just simply Dante DiVincenzo. Like, I'll never forget what he did on the road against Indiana in a loss, albeit. But Devo hit the game winner against the Sixers. He just was an awesome player, and I hated to give him up. I legitimately was doubting the trade. I was like, giving up Devo for Cat? Like, it seemed crazy. But now it really didn't, seeing how the season ended up unfolding. But thankfully for the Knicks, the Timberwolves, they have to pay Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They have to pay Nasri. He's got a player option. He's probably going to get around $40 million a year. And then next season, Mike Conley's a free agent for them. Devo wasn't really that good for the Timberwolves, and it makes sense because he had a completely different role. He had the best potential situation in New York, of course, playing next to Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby. But all of a sudden, he goes to the Timberwolves, and you go from New York to Minnesota. Like, with all due respect, that's a huge drop-off. I'm sorry. And you look at the numbers, and they signal that. Like, Devo averaged 11.7 points for the Timberwolves. He averaged 15.5 for the Knicks. Shooting splits with the Timberwolves, 42% from the field, 39% from 3, and 78% from the free throw line. With the Knicks, he shot 44% from the field, 40% from 3, and 75% from the free throw line. I'm actually shocked that Devo's splits were even that high. I didn't think they would be. They're pretty much identical, but it's the points that's the biggest thing. Like 11.7 to 15.5, that's a big drop-off, if I'm being honest. And technically his splits are lower, not by much, but they're still lower. The question is going to be, well, what would the Knicks give up for Dante DiVincenzo? I don't want to trade Mitch in the slightest. I really do like Mitchell Robinson. I think he's about to have a huge season. He's been putting in a lot of work this offseason. But you have to give up someone good. You're not just going to get Devo for free. And it's not like the Knicks have the picks to be able to do it. They don't have any after trading for McHale. Let's now talk about the second half of the video, and that is going to be James Naji. So for those of you that don't know who this is, we ended up acquiring the rights to him in the Karl Anthony Towns trade. Remember, it was a 3-team trade. The Hornets were also involved. He is a 6'11 center with a sorry, I can't say that out loud. 7'7" wingspan and a 9'4" standing reach. Naji is highly touted because of his ability to rebound on both ends of the court and play with physicality in the post. The problem with him is that he's extremely raw. Offensively, doesn't give you basically anything. He can finish around the basket, but outside of that, he's not NBA ready. But defensively, he certainly is. A 7.1% block rate. He rebounds the ball very well. He's an energizer bunny. He's one of those typical Knicks players that goes after every board and does it at a high level. He would fit well defensively. It's just offensively, he's going to be a liability is kind of the problem. I do think he'll end up being, whether it's the G League or on a two-way. Two-way would be the best case scenario here. I don't think he's actually going to get a training camp invite and make the roster. I mean, hopefully he proves me wrong. That would be awesome. I don't think he's quite ready, but he is going to compete. And because he has that size and athleticism and some of the best traits according to scouts in all of the 2023 draft, legitimately, he is going to be something for the Knicks. It's just so difficult to be a guy that size and to contribute. I think Derek Lively would be the best case scenario here. I mean, if he hit that, Knicks fans would certainly take that any day of the week. But his floor is just so low. Like, you look at a guy like a Moses Brown who's putting up 20 games at a similar size. Well, not really a similar size. Moses Brown is like 7'3", 7'4", I think. Maybe a little bit smaller than that. It's just going to be hard, especially because you're battling with Mitch. You're battling with Huck Porty. You're battling with Cat. I mean, if the Knicks actually carried four centers, that'd be kind of crazy. But it'll be interesting to see how he does in the Summer League because he certainly will get an opportunity, which is going to be in just a couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that. The thing about the Knicks, though, is if he actually does make the roster, it would be massive because they could pay him the rookie minimum, which is $1 million less than the veterans minimum. And because, of course, we're getting kind of close to the second apron, they'd get more room to use to pay free agents like a Tyus Jones, for example, or Al Horford. That wouldn't make sense at that point, but you guys get what I mean. Is you could probably get some of the better free agents available if you end up bringing in Naji just because he'd be so cheap. And in the Summer League with the Hornets, he averaged 3.8 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 6 appearances. Another issue is the fact that he did have surgery, and he hasn't played big minutes since Barcelona. So this is going to be a critical July. Not even July, but right now he is in New York working out with the Knicks according to his agent. This is going to be a big test for Naji to see if he is ready to play in the NBA. I mean, Barcelona, yeah, they got a lot of amazing athletes over there, but that is not the NBA, for basketball at least. For other sports, absolutely, they're better than our country. But this is NBA. This is the National Basketball Association, and he sure as hell better be ready to compete. But I am rooting for him. This is definitely a big opportunity. Size is no joke in the NBA. The more size you have, the better you're going to be.